In this update, we are tracking a widespread winter storm this morning that continues to unfold all the way down into the deep south, causing widespread disruption into the Gulf Coast region. And that continues to amplify as it lives through Arkansas, into Tennessee, all the way up into the DC region, into New York City region. And I think that even extends back up into Maine in the next day or two. And that polar vortex continues to show its true colors as it plunges southbound, bringing record low temperatures all the way down into the deep south for some areas. So I appreciate all my subscribers out there. This channel's up to 230,000 subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm here on a daily basis, folks. So if you'd like to follow along throughout 2024, and if you are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button and I'll keep you well ahead of the storm. So let's talk about the snow so far. And these are preliminary numbers that came out at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time this morning. We had a swath, a disturbance that came through the Rockies, and that caused some lift. In fact, there's actually about an inch, 1.3 inches in the Dallas-Fort Worth region that fell overnight. That's just not picking up in some of these areas because a lot of this was a kind of a sleet snow mix. But the extended view in eastern Oklahoma, through Arkansas, up here into Tennessee, back into West Virginia, they've already picked up a good 2 to 4, some areas 3 to 6 inches of snow. And that snow is continuing to fly, and I think it will start to amplify and pick up those numbers throughout the day. But it is bone-chilling cold, folks. That is the true Arctic air mass, continues to plunge southbound. Temperatures this morning are well below zero for a good part of the northern tiers, but even further south, I mean, 0 degrees in Oklahoma City, 11 degrees there in Dallas, all the way down to the deep south. Pretty rare to see all of Texas below freezing, but that's exactly where we're at as that cold plunge continues to plunge southbound, mixing in with that disturbance, and that's what's causing all the just complete mess out there with the snow and the sleet and all the ice that they're contending with even further south. In fact, they've had an upgrade to the winter storm warnings down here into the Austin, into the San Antonio region. They could be looking at some significant icing building up on some power lines, and some roadways out there is just causing treacherous travel all the way down into Corpus Christi, folks. And I think this freezing rain will extend eventually up into the Houston region as it continues to unfold across East Texas. And it's just, again, Shreveport, Texarkana, back into, southern portions of Arkansas. It's just all a sloppy mess with just a sleet, freezing rain type mix, and it's all snow up towards Little Rock region and back into Memphis as they're mixing in with the colder air aloft with all layers of the atmosphere. Because remember, this is Arctic air, and it's a very shallow Arctic air mass. So you always get that warm air aloft, that 4,000 to 5,000 feet warm air aloft that melts the snow, and then that's why it falls as freezing rain and the sleet, where all those layers are cold enough, the columns of air, that's where it's just all snow, and that's what it's going to be like in much of Tennessee. And definitely am concerned about some convective banding setting up later on today across eastern Tennessee, where they could pick up some pretty significant snowfall with 1 to 2 inches per hour starting to unfold across this region. But it's just all just a slushy mess further south into northern Mississippi, back into Shreveport, and that extends, I think, eventually to the Gulf Coast, all the way down to Houston, even some freezing rain down into the Rio Grande Valley region. That is rare to see, folks. That is the Arctic air mass showing its true colors, and the plunge to Mexico that we've been talking about for a long time. And then now we're seeing the slingshot eastward of this system that is moving in, and it just continues to kind of wring out that atmosphere with the lift aloft and bringing that freezing rain, freezing drizzle into the Lake Charles region, all the way down and almost eventually to the entire state of Mississippi. Could see some freezing drizzle, freezing rain out of this deal, and heading into Alabama, at least the northern tier of it. But Tennessee just gets clocked with this system with very heavy snow into the afternoon region, and then going into tomorrow morning, again, further south as you get that actually another reinforcing shot of Arctic air into the overnight hours as the winds start to pick up. So those wind chills go well below zero, even for those areas further south, which is again really rare. So this is definitely by far the coldest air of the season, and that just continues to shift further southbound, lifting that snow, and eventually we'll have a low pressure center that's going to form off the northeast, and that will bring the snow. Yes, I'm talking to you guys in Philadelphia, into New York City. Even I think the Baltimore region will finally kick out of their slump of no snow. They're expecting 1 to 3 inches of snow within those main areas, those bigger cities. And I think that just even, picks up further north into places into Pennsylvania, into northern portions of New Jersey, back into Massachusetts and Connecticut here. All that rain that we dealt with for many weeks along the coast, this one's going to be all snow, folks. And as this will continue to expand and intensify. But here's kind of the preliminary look of what's still to come as far as some sleet. Again, this is just going to be a slushy, icy mess. So I think for the most part, most of the precipitation is going to be done into the Dallas-Fort Worth region and shifting southbound for those areas into East Texas, into Central Texas, and down towards the hill country here. That's when you're still going to be seeing that freezing rain and sleet mix through Louisiana, through Mississippi, all the way up into Alabama, and again, some icing into Tennessee, but the predominant force is going to be the snow. But there's the freezing rain extending all the way down into the deep south, hitting those areas into Corpus Christi, parts of the Rio Grande Valley region, into Victoria, into the Houston region. I mean, this is the I-10 corridor, slushy travels, icy wintry mix. So it's just a dangerous combination. Obviously, this causes a lot of havoc on the roads with icy weather, and numerous wrecks would likely unfold across this region. And it's just widespread issues with that colder air continuing to plunge southbound as this storm continues to lift further north. But here is some of the high resolution guidance on what's to come with this banding. So you got on the northwest side of there, that's where the heavier snow is going to fall. So yes, northern Mississippi could pick up 3 to 5 inches of snow still with this system, far northern portions of Alabama, but especially there into Tennessee and that eastern side of Tennessee where that convective banding could unfold. Yeah, not out of the question. Some of these areas, isolated areas, 6 to 10 inches of snowfall with this deal as it continues to lift up into West Virginia. But now it's finally going to be getting into, by tomorrow morning, into the New Jersey region, and eventually the snow will start to fly in Central Park there in New York City as the colder air will show its true colors, showing those temperatures all the way down into the deep south, widespread purples with negative numbers. Those are actual air temperatures, not feels like, because remember, we have another Arctic surge that will be coming in overnight, and that's going to just reinforce the Arctic air as those temps just go nowhere but southbound. And that wide 25 degrees in Lake Charles, you know that it's an Arctic air mass, and that those low numbers then teens all the way in the middle portions of Mississippi. Yeah, folks, that's some serious Arctic air mass that continues to plunge southbound. And then when it goes northbound, as that low pressure center will finally form off the coast, that's where the snow and the heavier snows will be unfolding across the Connecticut region into Rhode Island, and eventually heading up into Massachusetts. And eventually this will, as this low pressure will start to deepen, it's not a significant storm, but still, this will be 1,000 to eventually likely be in the mid to upper 90s, 900 low pressure center. But that's going to be enough. It's just off the coast here, and it's just all snow with that Arctic air coming on the backside. So it's not a rain deal with this setup along the coast. It's actually going to be a snow deal as this will continue to expand and intensify going into even Tuesday night. So I think by then, these areas up into Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire will be included into that winter weather advisory, winter storm warning criteria, especially up here into Maine, as that low pressure 995 millibar low pressure will continue to deepen and lifting out and then leaving behind a good snow swath. So this is the mean. This is an average mean. So it kind of takes out the highest, it takes out the lowest, and kind of gives you a blend of all the models, and kind of gives you more of that conservative look. So yes, areas are going to be seeing more snow, some of these, than what it's actually showing. But this is more of a conservative look, saying, hey, we could see those Baltimore, the Philly region, the New York City regions, seeing those 1 to 3 inches of possibility of snowfall with this deal that would break them out of their slump, their consecutive, 700 days or something like that slump with no snowfall, or at least more than an inch of snowfall on the ground, but at least heavier amounts as we lift further in the northeast. So a good 3 to 6 inch swath coming out of this deal from the northeast. But if we're not done, we got even a reinforcing shot. So we clear out a little bit. This is Wednesday. So this is the main system. This is that first plunge of Arctic air. We start to see more rain. We got ridging starting to build back across the west, meaning higher temperatures, warmer temperatures, at least along the coastal regions. But it's still going to be plenty cold enough in the middle of winter to snow in the Intermountain West. But we do feel by Thursday, it's more transition day. There's the warm up. It's a quick warm up, quick shot warm up. But those areas into the east, and especially those areas in Western Canada, we've already got another piece of Arctic air building up there, where the original one started forming up there in Alberta, back up into Edmonton, where they saw all those crazy almost 50 below zero up there. And even some spots in Canada actually touch 54 as one of the areas that I saw up there below zero. This one's not going to be that intense, but it's still cold, and it's still another reinforcing shot of Arctic air that would likely come through Friday into the weekend. So it's not those areas out west, but as that plunge from Western Canada enters the United States again, that is going to cause a reinforcing shot of colder air. So yes, to sum it all up, it's a very cold week ahead for a good part. 80% of the country is definitely going to be experiencing a very cold week, and then a reinforcing shot of that Arctic air just comes in Friday, and then it will continue to intensify, going over this big snow swath up here to Illinois, bringing those temperatures back to well below zero by the time we head into the weekend. And then we got more snow coming in on the backside. So this is your Friday look, going back into Iowa, into northern Illinois, into Indiana, back into Ohio. You can see the freeze line shifting further south again, and I think the snow will start to fly again up here into the northeast as that freeze line plunges all the way down into the Gulf Coast again. This is Saturday morning. That reinforcing shot keeps all below freezing temperatures all the way down into the Gulf of Mexico, into the Florida Panhandle, extending off the coast of the Carolinas, and then to the northern side, we have another low pressure center, and yes, even more snow for those areas into the I-95 corridor by then. So guys, I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video, definitely hit the subscribe button, and catch the next update. Wire protect you before and after storm.